welcome. We are studying Georgia O'Keeffe here in my art classroom. There is her website, some facts about her, one of the female artists, and we are, hello, welcome to the classroom, about to get out your supplies. All right, so if you're with me in my class, we're gonna get your sketch pad, fold it in half. I know I'm gonna go fast, but I can replay this video. All right, when you fold it in half on the crease, you're gonna do a line down the middle. All right, so we're gonna do trials in media, doing a O'Keeffe replica. There's our grading rubric. You got the A, going from tone, dark to light, which she is famous for. Zooming into forms in nature, our thematic unit of study. And flowers, A, B, staying in the lines. C, not fully in the lines. And a D is going out of the line. So my goal is to get you guys to the A. Let's rock this. All right, so you wanna look, I like looking at real flowers. We'll probably go outside to do so and use your photography to avoid plagiarism. But for this replica, going with the shape of the paper I have, I'm gonna hold my O'Keeffe like that. I'm gonna start with the middle of the flower and go to do a circle. Okay, what I'm gonna do is show you the supplies I have while you're getting ready and getting set up. I have soft pastels. One of our trials in media is in pastel. One will be in watercolor. I'm gonna go quickly through the drawing, starting with the middle of the flower, okay? Then look at the shape around the middle, and whether you're looking at a still life, true life of a flower, or your photography of a flower, I like starting by laying out and designing where the flower is gonna be, okay? Now I'm there, now I'm gonna go to that one. Looks a little more triangular shape, because the way God created the forms in nature, which we're going over the curves of, I'm on that one now. We're just looking at a resource for primary observation. Then we're gonna start here and go out like that. So watch that one. We're gonna start here and go out. See how that's a little bit not straight, it's curved. Okay, so we're using some of the elements of art and principles of design, like line, shape, and form as we're doing it. And I love that about art, is that you are using the elements of art as you're doing it. And I'll try to point those out later as we talk about line, shape, form, emphasis, all elements of art and principles of design. And I'm looking at that line right there, doing that curve. If you can't see, follow along with me. And my last video, one of my students in 8th grade said, "Mrs. Smith, your hand's in the way." So I'm trying to get the view above. I apologize if it's not perfect. You guys know I'm not perfect. We're all works in progress. All right, I'm on this one. I'm going across. All right, so these are now kind of squished over. If you are doing petal by petal, is how you do a flower. You do one petal at a time. I'm on that one. Okay, if yours come a little bit wiggly or imperfect, it's okay. We're just going around. I'm showing you where I am. Just looking at her until we do enough of these petals. We get bigger and bigger that we go right here, right off the edge. Okay, so hopefully you're following along. Hopefully your flower is going right off the edge. I'm showing you where I am looking. And maybe if we get flowers and we zoom into them, even going outside, but it's been raining, then hopefully we'll be able to look at some forms in nature, blow them up, like zooming in like she's doing for emphasis, and be able to make some O'Keeffe inspired replicas. Okay, so now I'm on the middle of this next one. Boom, boom, boom. I got the middle. I'm gonna go a little faster now. The first one I did really slow. This one I'm getting really sketchy, so we could spend the most amount of time on your watercolor tone, where you get your darker to lighter, and where we're using tone with the soft chalk pastels, where we'll get a little messy. But remember, hairspray works like fixative to set it. All right, that's my one on the right side. Guess what? The one on the left side, or whatever side you're doing, will be even faster. Okay, so I'm just gonna go like this. I'm gonna go around for you guys who that was too hard for. As long as you have a flower and a second flower and you're going right off the page, is my idea to help you guys to use tone in watercolor and pastel. All right, there were two ways of doing it. First one, let's look at this one and start with watercolor. Now, they teach you in art school, you always start with the lightest and then go to darkest. Some of you guys like seeing the exact colors I dunk into and say, "Mrs. Smith, what color did you go for?" Well, I see some yellowish there. So I'm gonna start with the yellow. And I'm gonna get to where there's the lightest and add yellow. Then I'm gonna layer on the orange, which yellow and orange will turn into a peach. So I'm just going to where the light hit, and this is what O'Keeffe is so world famous for, is her tones in dark and light. Okay, so you're just going throughout. Okay, you're gonna go back and forth. Back and forth is called feathering or blending. I'm gonna dunk in the water. I'm gonna go for the next tone. Say you don't want to do an orangey red poppy, the traditional. You can add, I'm gonna add a little more pink to mine. Add the colors you like. This is where you're gonna go for personal expression. Now I'm going around the black. If I overlap on the black, does it matter, guys? Probably doesn't. So look at your picture, your source, your resource, to do some primary observations on your flower, and look where it's darkest. The darkest is going to be absent of life. So that's a little shadow right there. And what we're going to do is, you see I'm doing circularization or blending or feathering, or we could do what's called the bleed. You get the water and dab it on there. And either way, I'm doing a little bit of layering to go from dark to light on my flower. I'm going to start to overlap the yellow so it becomes more of that peachy tone. Okay, say you want it more of a pink or a purple flower. At this time, purple and yellow is going to make a nasty brown. So you want to think about your color. Maybe you'll go for a light blue and purple if you wanted to. You see the darker colors right there? I'm going for a little darker now. And if it gets too light, I'm going to blend or dab what I have on there. Okay, that's blending, that's dabbing. And if the dab looks like a dot and it's not well blended, add some water if you want to go for the bleed or the controlled drip, if you want to rock it and control which direction your drip goes. Dun, dun, like that. So it goes back and forth till it gets to a nice spot. All right, so I'm going to go really dark now, and I'm going to try to finish this in a minute. I'm going to spend a lot longer afterwards with the tip of my brush or a thin brush to blend a little more naturally and to layer on that black after this sets. But what I want to do with you guys is to show you how to get started, get you going, and then let you finish your O'Keeffe inspired art, or replicas, whatever you want to call it at this point, depending on how much personalization you're going to add into it, to see the techniques you use. We are learning techniques and processes of various artists. Now I'm going to keep that there, but if you go right over it, guess what? Black's going to cover any color you use. You could go right over the middle if you want to quickly cover the black part, the darkest dark, because we could just do a layer, what's called layering, and do another layer right over that. So I'm just going back and forth, looking at the way back and forth, feathering or blending to get my darker tones on there. Then when we're done doing our O'Keeffe replicas, and I'll give you a little longer than what I'm doing in class. I know I'm going fast because I'm trying to rush this so I can do the pastel side, and then we're going to end in posters with small groups. We're going to do some really big posters with Bible verses at my Christian school about flowers. And we're going to get to hang them up at our school to show the biblical worldview. Obviously, you don't have to. There's a lot of poems about flowers. If you like to have some text on top of your background, that's one thing our school does to encourage others. And there's a lot of encouraging sayings you can also get with yours. All right, the next one, pastel. I'm going to let that set for a little bit. I'm going to rock my drip in a circular motion to have it bleed out and blend. See that going that way? So it looks like a natural fade. Then I'm going to do it probably another layer, which I could do with the end of the brush real thin to get my edges crisp, and I'm definitely going to do that black. But let's get going for pastel. All right, for this one, I think I'll go for more of a pink tone flower, or should I stick with the O'Keeffe for you guys? You get to pick whatever color flowers you want. I better stick with the O'Keeffe replica. This time with pastel, I'm going to go to dark first because I don't have to clean my brush inside. Now, with the pastel, if you use the tip, it's going to look scribbly. You have more blending. If you use the side like a crayon, it's not. So I'm just going to go from the inside out. And once again, I'm going to layer. My last color will be the black, the dark middle. All right? For pastel, look how to work with it. You're going to get a little messy. If you're the type that doesn't like to get messy, you can use a tissue to blend it, which I also say works like a blending stub. Okay, I'm going to go from red to orange. Now, if you want to scribble with the end, you're going to have more blending. I like using the body of it, the way you would peel the the wrapper off a crayon when we do Wax Resist. That's a really good thing you can do in my class. And then from red to orange, the tips, I'm going to add the yellow on. And what I'm trying to show you is how to get tones in both chalk pastel and watercolor. Okay, my last color that I'm going to do is the yellow for this. And then I'm going to, at the end, I'm going to put a little white on there where the highlight is and get my black going. So right now I'm just trying to lay down the color. Okay, and I'm going from dark to light to show some depth and tone. And then I'm going to make my edges crisp afterwards. If you're uncomfortable getting messy with the pastels to make the edges crisp, to crisp the edges, I'm going to go around like that to have some fine details at the end after I'm done blending. But if you'd rather do that with a colored pencil, feel free. All right, so we've got enough color on there where we can now blend it. All right, so in order to blend, I'm using circularization. You guys know that's my favorite way to blend. Some people like going back and forth and feathering, but you want to go around the curve or the contour of each petal, okay? So I'm focusing on the flower. Then you can work on the background. If I do a dark color in the background like her, that would be what I do afterwards for layering. You could start with that, but with pastel, I think it's a little easier to, I like using 2 fingers. Peace out, man, peace. And blending like that. But you don't want to over blend. Like if you mix it up too much, it's going to not show from dark to light tones what adds depth to your flower. You see how I just got that really fuzzy? All right, let's go to the next one. Just go from, I'm going from the in out to blend that. Okay, now I am going to go for a darker color in my background. Let's go for that darker red that we started with. All right, and just to make the edges really dark like she has it there, I'm going to show you how I would end it, is making sure that background is really dark, adding a thicker layer so that way the flower petals pop compared to your background, just like she has there. All right, so I'm on my last step, and then we're going to work on our posters in small groups. Ooh. All right, my last step is adding the darkest dark, which is hopefully, if you're looking at the source, you're going to stay in the lines now and go around what she got famous for. Start with the middles. Use your pencil drawing, right? Ooh, it's starting to bleed out. So I might have started a little too soon. In my class, we might do the dark color after the paint sets a little more. If not, you see I'm staying in the lines of my pencil and I'm going in to out. Ooh, I kind of like it though. It's kind of bleeding out so it looks a little bit natural. And we're working on that part of the flower. If I need to dip back in the black, I will. But, right? See the replica how I do it? Now I'm going to mix up my black. Work on my second one. Started to bleed out already, but that's okay. Because each flower is unique. And if it doesn't look perfect, that's okay. Your flowers each can have their own little personality. I might even make a ladybug in there for personal expression later. Or put a secret message into my flowers. All right, so that's how far I am on that one, the watercolor one. All right, I'm gonna add another layer for depth. I'm trying to work really fast with this video. Stop playing it and then give you guys the whole rest of the class to work with your art. All right, someone took the black of my pastel. So your last thing would be then layering the black in there. I'm going to say an over and out from this lesson. Let's look at the O'Keefe. I'm going to get my black and do the same thing I just did there with watercolor in there. And it's going to give some depth to my poppies. All right. The California State Flower from when I lived in California and taught at Golden Gate Academy next to the Golden Gate Bridge. Thank you guys who are taking care of our pastels. I did just find the black while you were hopefully working this whole time and getting caught up. I love it when you're not just listening, but when you're participating and you're following along. And if I go too fast, don't be like, Mrs. Smith, stop the video. I'm going to play the video, let you work at your own pace while you're listening, and then we can replay, and I'll come around and coach you guys. I'm going to come around and help you. If you need help, please just raise your hand, and I will come to you. All right? Oh, that's what I wanted to show you, is a little more depth by adding some darker tones, and then, yep, getting a little messy. Now, after your finger gets black, like I'm going to show you to end this video, is all your, like your pretty yellows and stuff, all your colors will get really dark. So if you don't want your yellow and your peach to get dark, clean your finger. We have a sink. All right, over and out from Georgia O'Keefe Inspired replicas zooming into forms in nature.